Hey guys, welcome back. Question: what are the best ETFs for 2021? Well, as a good starting point, I always like to take a look at what other investors are doing. Kevin O'Leary is best known for being Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, formerly known as Dragon's Den. Whether you like his direct style or not, you have to admit one thing: he does know a lot about business and investing. So in this video, I'm going to show you what his best ETFs are. Now, you might be thinking, with over 5,000 different ETFs out there, how do we know which ones are his favorite? Well, what you might not realize is that Kevin O'Leary has created his own ETFs, O'Shares. Basically, he was unhappy with the ETFs on the market as they didn't give him what he needed as an investor. With most ETFs being market cap weighted, this means there was too much concentration in a few different companies, and it didn't give him the diversification he wanted. So he created O'Shares and some rule-based ETFs. So in this video, I'm going to show you Kevin O'Leary's very own ETFs based on his 3 rules of investing, which I'll show you in a second. Now, just before we jump in and start looking at some ETFs, if you do find anything useful in this video, be sure to drop a like. That would be much appreciated, as every like does help. Okay, sit back and relax guys. Here are some great ETF options for 2021 from Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary. So here is what we've got coming up. We're first going to hand you over to Kevin O'Leary himself as he talks through his O'Shares philosophy. Why did he create these rule-based ETFs? We'll then take a look and deep dive into Kevin O'Leary's top 2 ETF options. I'll then give you a bonus ETF, which is a great complement to the other 2. And as always, I'll bring it all together with a summary. First up, let me hand you over to Mr. Wonderful himself as he explains why he created O'Shares.
Hi, I'm Kevin O'Leary. You might know me as Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, and I really enjoy doing that show because I love to support entrepreneurs. But my real job is I'm an investor. I'm entrusted with a lot of capital, both my own and other people's, and I have to put it to work. It's a huge challenge because let's just take my family trust. I've been investing it since 1997 with a board of trustees. You know how hard it is to do that in volatile markets. But here's my challenge. When I set it up, it was a very simple mandate. And I want you to understand it because it's the genesis of something I've been part of creating recently called O'Shares ETFs. And I began to do some research. I told my people, look, go find me all the ETFs in the market today that pay dividends. Now, I have some very simple rules that I have to live by as an investor. I'll explain them to you. And I have these rules in place for myself because they've saved my rear end over many volatile years in the markets. Number 1. I never own more than 5% in any one name. In other words, I don't want my portfolio to have a lot of concentration. Number 2, I never own more than 20% in any one sector of the S&P. I want diversification, there's no question about that, but also sectoral diversification. Number 3, I hate volatility. So I want at least a means test on the market cap size of the company. Generally, larger cap companies are a little less volatile, but above all, dividend payers are less volatile. So I try to build portfolios that have less volatility. Because when you're a fiduciary for your own family's capital, preservation is number 1 on the hit parade. I think you know that. But I need those dividends. So my team went to work and they came back to me with about 50 different options. I was excited. This is an easy solution for me. We started to do digging into what these indices were made up of and what was inside these ETFs. And that's what I was quite surprised. The first generation of ETFs out there are indices that are market cap weighted. And for me, here's the problem. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy them, but here's why I'm not. I don't want the concentration that occurs in market cap weighted indices when 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 stocks end up being 40, 50, 60% of the indice. That breaches my covenant on diversification. I was kind of depressed at that point. I said, this ETF idea isn't going to be a solution for me because I can't avoid this massive concentration of a few names in the indice. And that's when I met the people at FTSE Russell. I told them the same story I'm telling you. Why isn't there something to solve my problem? Wouldn't other investors want the same thing? Don't you want diversification? And above all, dividend yield? I said, look guys, is there any way we can create something new? FTSE Russell listened to me and they went to work. And that's how O'Shares was born. I'm not telling people what to buy. I'm telling you what I'm doing. This is someone who needed to solve his own problem for his own trust. What do I care about? Preservation of my family's wealth. And I've got to pay out 5%. The O'Shares toolkit is perfect for me. Now I've solved for it. It took me a long time to do it, and I think at the same time, I've helped innovate in the ETF market. I'm not going to be the last to do this. What's great about the ETF structure is that it can continue to evolve. O'Shares is a new generation of rule-based ETFs that make sure that what the index is comprised of fits the original mandate day in, day out. And for me, it's yield, preservation of capital, low volatility, not just in the domestic market, in markets all around the world. Anyways, thanks for listening. Have a look at O'Shares. It might solve your problems too.
So here are two great ETF options. First up, we have O'Shares Global Internet Giants, ticker symbol OGIG, a rule-based ETF designed to invest in some of the largest global companies that derive most of their revenue from internet and e-commerce sectors that exhibit quality and growth potential. So this is the top 10 companies in the fund and also the sectors. So you can see these are some of the best companies in the world. We've got Amazon.com. We then have the two Chinese global giants, Tencent and Alibaba. We have Alphabet, Microsoft, Facebook, Meituan. So these really are some of the best companies in the world right now. When it comes to the sectors, you can see it's mainly split into three. We've got information technology, consumer discretionary, and communication services. Taking a look at the 5-year chart, we can see the growth has been relatively flat for a few years, but then over this last year, it really has powered up. About the fund assets under management is 740 million. It's made up of 72 different global internet giants. The fee is 0.48, which isn't the lowest. It's not Vanguard low, but it's also not the highest. Like some of the ARK Invest funds are at 0.75. Year-to-date performance, considering we're only still in the first month, is pretty good at 2.9%, and its 5-year is excellent, so it's grown 120%, giving a 24% average. But as you can see, most of this growth has come in the last year. A good UK equivalent to look at would be EQQQ. So this is a really good tech fund. However, you're not going to get the Chinese tech giants in there. And the second ETF we're going to look at is the O'Shares US Quality Dividend ETF, ticker OUSA. Large and mid-cap dividend-paying issuers in the United States that meet certain liquidity, high quality, low volatility, and dividend yield thresholds, as determined by O'Shares Investment Advisors. So this is the top 10 and sector, and this follows more the traditional O'Leary framework. You'll notice that there's no real company going over 5% in any individual holding. And you'll notice by sector, no sector really exceeds 20%. So this is true diversification. And if you wanted some great dividend-paying companies screened by Kevin O'Leary himself, then here they are. We have Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, Home Depot, Merck, P&G, Verizon, Apple, Pfizer. So again, some really solid, great dividend-paying companies. Looking at the 5-year, you can see this chart has had some really excellent, consistent growth. Obviously, apart from the dip at the beginning of 2020, but that's understandable. But this is an excellent growth line. About the fund, again, a fairly decent size, over 600 million assets under management. This has over 100 quality dividend companies in the fund. Fee is the same at 0.48. Year-to-date performance is relatively okay, 0.7, but the 5-year, it's grown 59%, giving an 11.8 average. Now, for big established companies, this is really, really good. A UK equivalent to take a look at would be HDLV. And I always like to work in threes, so here is my bonus ETF to complement the first two. It is the ARK Genomic Revolution, ticker ARKG. Companies focused on extending and enhancing the quality of human and other life by incorporating technological and scientific developments and advancements in genomics into their business. So ARK has 5 great funds, so why did I choose this one? Well, it was for 2 reasons. The first is that this is the fastest growing ARK fund for 2021 so far. And talk to any trader and they will say you want to be with the trend. And the second reason is because I showed you a great tech fund, I didn't want to choose one of the tech ARKs. We went for genomic as it's all small, innovative companies which will really complement the first 2 ETFs. This is the top 10. As you can see, there's quite a lot of companies here which I personally don't recognize as they're all quite young and innovative, but feel free to jump into any one. But feel free to Google and jump into any one of these if you want some more details. But this top 10 makes up 46.77% of the total fund. Looking at the 5-year chart, it's very similar to the first one where we have this slow growth for a few years, but then in 2020, it's really exploded. The size of this fund is really big. The ARK funds are getting so much traction, almost 10 billion of assets under management. This fund makes up 52 different genomic companies. You see the fee is on the high side at 0.75. So does the performance justify it? Well, as you can see, year to date so far, and we're just in the first month, it's grown 16%, which is excellent. And its 5-year makes up 502% growth, giving over a 100% average. But as you can see, most of this growth has come in the last year. But this fund gives you some great leverage and is a great complement to the first 2. So there you are, guys. Those were 3 great ETF options for 2021. You now know 2 great ETF options from Kevin O'Leary, one being a tech fund, where the great thing about that is that you get exposure to some big Chinese titans, which you don't get in normal tech funds. And the other one being a good dividend fund. And the great thing about that is that all the companies have been screened by Mr. Wonderful himself. Think about it. If you were to hire Kevin O'Leary to screen your companies, it would cost you a small fortune. So this is a great example of a win-win scenario. And then for some extra leverage and a great complementary fund, we had ARKG. And that was from the excellent work of Cathie and the people at ARK Invest. Unfortunately for UK people, some of these funds were not available. But with the UK withdrawing from Europe, this now might change. But there was some alternative funds in there for you guys as well. So just one favor to ask, if you did find anything useful in the video, be sure to drop a like. That would be much appreciated. If you haven't yet subscribed, then be sure to click below and join us. I do have some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. And I'm also curious to know, what do you think are the best funds for 2021? Post any ideas below. Okay, cheers guys. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.